I just want to say that I'm also too young to retire, man.
Where should I invest my money so that I get good returns? पैसे बनाने हैं मुझे.
So you need to figure out, what your needs are, what your goals are.
Let's say that we have someone who just started working, maybe has a 50,000 rupee in hand salary every month. How do you think that they should diversify their portfolio?
When I look at it from an investment perspective, events like wars, like slowdowns in economy are something which is very normal in your entire life. I think you reach a stage when you kind of become comfortable with money.
Now, I feel that there is a difference between financial independence and retirement. Is my thinking right there? You know, a lot of us pick education from different sources. Some go to YouTube, watch videos. Some read books. Some head to newspapers and read some bits. But today, I wanted to learn about retirement. I know, too young to retire. But then I thought, why not? Let's get someone who can speak about this and a lot more. So today, I have with me someone who's been 25 plus years in financial services with 20 plus years in just ETFs. He was one of the founding members who launched India's first ETF in 2001. And he likes playing tennis. He resides in Bangalore, and he is the CEO of Zerodha Fund House. I'm talking about Vishal Jain. Hi, Vishal. Welcome to FinshotsTV.
Hi, Shashank. Pleasure to be here. Thanks
Did
for inviting me.
I say anything wrong in the introduction, though?
I just want to say that I'm also too young to retire, man.
Totally. You look really young as well. Anyways, I don't know how we'll go about this today, but I have prepared some questions that I have picked from the audience who've asked about a lot of different topics. But to you, I will pitch a few questions that I have written shamelessly on my cue card. But let me start right away. I'm sure that the conversation around retirement, when you started being in financial services back in 2001, how was retirement thought about then? And how is it being thought about now? What has changed?
I think that was a extremely different era, Shashank. I passed out in 96.
Okay.
And at that point of time, the economy was at a very different, phase in life. The fact that we got jobs, especially in the finance sector where, jobs were scarce at that point of time, that itself was a huge achievement in my opinion. And, coming from a background where my parents were working in public sectors, for us, starting a job itself was a big step forward. I couldn't have thought about retirement at that point of time, but I'm happy that 25 30 years down the line there are the new generation is thinking about that. Just goes to show how far we've reached as an economy.
Exactly. A lot of people say this, that it's the journey and not the destination. But it's kind of opposite when people start talking about retirement, because retirement is the destination. Now, talking about retirement, there's always this concept that you need to retire, you need to have this much amount of money. So take me back 25 years. What was the number like then? If people had to retire back then? And has the goalpost moved now, 25, 26 years down the line?
Everything has changed, Shashank. At that point of time, I wasn't one of the guys who would constantly talk about retirement, but I did have a friend of mine, and he would constantly tell me, that Vishal, if I hit a 1 crore number, that's done. I'm going to stop working after that. And I could never understand it, because I felt that, what will you do just by sitting at home doing nothing? And how do you take into account the fact that the world changes and is changing constantly? Whether it's your lifestyle, whether it's inflation, whether it's your needs, everything changes. So it all looks very good on an Excel spreadsheet, but actually going and doing that in real life is something that, I could never understand. But I think 1 crore or something like that was a number which at that point of time seemed to be a fair number to talk of.
So you're talking about 1 crore, building towards 1 crore down the lane, or having 1 crore in 2001 was enough to retire?
Having 1 crore, say, in 2001.
Was enough to retire. That's crazy. And now you think about what inflation eats into that 1 crore and you're left with meager 30, 40 lakhs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, a lot of people in India rely on these three products, EPF, PPF, and NPS. All right. Now, let's say that you and I went out for a coffee and then I ask you to rank these three. How would you rank them? Let's take out the brochure talks. Just how would you rank them and explain those to me?
Again, Shashank, I don't think, in a sense, that's the right way to look at it.
Okay.
Because I think you need to build a portfolio in a holistic manner, right?
Explain that.
When you look at, say, an EPF or PPF, typically you're investing in just debt, right? I think the best way for someone to kind of understand what are the different products one must invest in is to obviously speak to an advisor, because every different individual has a different need, right?
Correct.
So you need to figure out, what your needs are, what your goals are, and also keep in mind that you need to have a holistic portfolio. That means you got to have debt, you got to have equity, and you also got to have a bit of commodity in your portfolio. So the EPF and PPF part would possibly look at the debt portion, but you also need to ensure that, keeping in mind your objectives at retirement in terms of what is the nest egg you require at that point of time. Also factor in what is the most tax efficient product for you at that point in time, and also ensure that you have products in your portfolio which are also linked to the market, because that's what is going to give you the kicker in terms of return. So I think look at your portfolio holistically in that sense.
Right. Okay. Now, a lot of people have spoken about this, the concept of FIRE. Now, I feel that there is a difference between financial independence and retirement. Is my thinking right there?
I would tend to agree with you. I think financial independence, when I think about it, I think it's two things. I think one is that it's a number, right? Which you come up with a number through a formula which, you use. And the second thing is also, I think, it's a state of mind where, you believe that you have enough of money for you to, lead the rest of your life, with that corpus that you've created. So, and you're comfortable with it. So I think it's both, it's a number as well as it's a state of mind. Whereas retirement is a behavior where you decide, look, I'm going to do nothing else now post this. So I think I would tend to think that, this seems to be a difference between the two here.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, now coming to the hot topic. In Feb, correct me if I'm wrong, SEBI there's something called as life cycle funds in India. I never cared about reading in depth about this. And I thought I'd just ask you about this. So shed some light on that.
So again, a fantastic product for the Indian market. In the Indian market, look at it from an aspect where it's goal based, where it has a defined maturity. So let's take a simple example that you put money, say, in a 5-year fixed deposit or a 10-year, fixed deposit, where you have a defined maturity, you have a defined goal. But in a life cycle fund, the beauty of a life cycle fund is that it's investing not only in debt, it's investing in equity as well as debt, and also a bit of commodity in that sense. And the way the product works is that in the initial years of the product, so let's take a simple example, you have a life cycle fund which is got a 30-year maturity. So in the initial years of the product, the equity portion or the risk component of the product is very high. And as it comes towards maturity, the equity portion reduces and it goes towards the debt component, which basically, as you're moving towards maturity of the product, the risk of the product is coming down. So that's the beauty of the product. It's like an automated product which is moving between equity towards debt and commodity.
Right. And how is it solving a problem that, let's say, a regular equity mutual fund cannot solve?
Again, I think two things. I think understanding what asset allocation is, which means putting your money in different assets, as well as the big thing, which is discipline. Investing small bits of money at regular intervals for a long period of time. I think it solves those two issues.
Okay.
Let me explain a little bit about asset allocation.
Yes.
Asset allocation is, again, different assets which not necessarily move, together. Let's take a simple example. In the last 1 year, you've seen gold and silver go through the roof, right, as compared to equity.
Yeah.
Generally, you find that the correlation of gold with equity is very negligible.
Correct.
right? So if you add a bit of gold to your portfolio, it helps you kind of smoothen the volatility of your portfolio. So you'll see that in most cases, and you can kind of check that historically, whenever there has been an untoward or a or a crazy event which has happened in the market, you'll find that gold shoots up, and it kind of cushions your equity portfolio during bad times, right?
Right.
So if you kind of combine your portfolio with 2 or 3 different asset classes, it kind of gives you a better risk adjusted return, right? And so this is, in a sense, doing an asset allocation in an automated fashion, right? So you're doing, so you're using both asset classes, including commodities. So you're using 3 asset classes over a long period of time, and also the fact that it's a disciplined way to kind of invest, right? If I was to kind of ask you, Shashank, if in today's day and age, if I gave you 100 rupees, how much would you put in equity, debt, and gold? You'd possibly have a number. I'd possibly have another number, right? So there is no right number, which one can kind of look at. But this product kind of gives you that asset allocation, and it kind of moves that asset allocation in a systematic manner, during the entire lifespan of the product.
Okay, Vishal. So who manages this glide path, and what exactly is that?
So basically, when you look at the regulation, right, SEBI has defined, what should be the asset allocation in bands, right? So you have products that, get launched all the way from a 5-year maturity up to a 30-year maturity, right? And each of those bands, so there's a 15 and 30-year band, there's a 10 to 15-year bands, and so on and so forth. There are various bands that are there. And the regulator has defined in terms of what is the exposure you can take in equity, debt, and commodity as well. So when you look at the band, so if I remember correctly, the band between 15 to 30 years, one could take an equity exposure between 65% to 95%. Right. So any asset management company during the 15-year period, that is 15 to 30 years, can have a lower band of, say, 65%. If you're a very aggressive fund, you could have an upper band of 85% or 95% on the equity side. So it depends on the asset management company in terms of how they want to manage it. Or you could have a system where you could keep reducing the equity portion every year until it comes down to the lower band in a span of about 15 years or so. So there are different ways to manage it. It depends on the asset management company on how they want to manage it.
Right. Now, at this point, I know a lot of people have always asked you this. Where should I invest my money so that I get good returns? पैसे बनाने हैं मुझे. But a lot of people think that, at least to the people that I've spoken to, maybe I'm hanging out with the wrong people, they think ETF and mutual funds are the same. Just quickly, help me understand what's the difference between an ETF, because I consider you as an ETF guru, just like most people do. Difference between a mutual fund and an ETF. And explain this to me like I am 5.
Sure. So an ETF is a mutual fund unit by itself. It's just that an ETF tracks an index. A mutual fund, right, can track an index as well as you can have an active fund manager who's actually buying and selling stocks.
Okay.
Right. So in effect, it's a difference between an active fund management and a passive fund management. If you want to move towards passive, you have 2 avenues of investing in passive products. Passive products are basically index-linked products. And so they come in 2 fashions. One is they come in an index fund fashion, right? And the second is they come in an ETF fashion. An ETF is basically an index fund. So you can have an index fund which tracks the Nifty 50. You can have an ETF which tracks the Nifty 50. The difference between these 2 products is basically a Nifty 50 ETF trades on the stock market on a real-time basis.
Right.
Right. So let's take a simple example that the market is down 1%. You could actually jump into the market and buy the ETF at a 1% lower price. Whereas if you do it in an index fund format, then you are able to buy and sell only at the closing price of the day, which is the NAV which is declared by the fund. So one gives you the ability to buy and sell on a real-time basis. In the index fund format, you can buy directly from the fund house at that one closing price. Again, the difference between the two is that in an index fund, it makes it easier for you to do stuff like systematic, SIPs and an automated kind of investing, which is a little more difficult, say, in an ETF format.
Okay, let's take different situations at this point. Okay, let's say that we have someone who just started working, maybe has a 50,000 rupee in hand salary every month. And let's say we're talking about someone who bagged a lottery of a job in an AI firm, who's about 28, 30 and has an enhanced salary of about 2.5 lakhs per month. And their goal is to retire at 40. Okay. But they both want to retire at 40. They almost are starting on the same line, but they have two very different salaries. How do you think they can get to that finish line, considering that most of the family structure is the same, and considering that AI is also into the mix? How do you think that they should diversify their portfolio?
I mean, I think the way to look at it is to simplify your portfolio.
Yes.
In terms of, see, whether it's 50,000 rupees or 2.5 lakh rupees or 25 lakh rupees, I think it's important for you to build the right kind of asset allocation. If you're on the younger side, obviously your portfolio should be tilted more towards equity and lesser towards, say, gold and debt. And as you move towards your goals, you should be moving more of your money towards debt and, and commodity as compared to equity. I think that's the way to look at it. And the best way for you to kind of execute these strategies is through ETFs, or in that manner, say index funds, because of the fact that when you're looking for the long term, index funds and ETFs have a much lower expense ratio as compared to most other schemes, right? And therefore, it helps you. It reduces your cost over a longer period of time.
Understood. All right. So I was just going through something before we spoke. I pulled up a data that says around in the US about $4 trillion is in target dated funds, right? And that is the default retirement product that they have there. Now, why did it take about 20 plus years for India to get here?
Oh, I mean, good question, Shashank. But I think comparing, say, a very evolved economy like the US with us is probably not the right way to kind of look at it. I mean, when you look at, say, a developed economy like the US, you're talking about a formal workforce percentage which is very high, where India is still not there. In that sense, you still have about 8 or 9 crore people, who are paying taxes and who are formally registered, with the retirement organization. So I think very different, stages of development for a country, I would say. I think we're getting there, but we're a couple of years away, I would tend to think.
How many years would you give it?
I mean, the rate at which the number of people are kind of getting formalized in the economy, and the kind of things that the government is doing in terms of formalizing the economy, I think possibly a decade or so.
All right. A wild question, right? With whatever is happening in the world right now, with the war that's going on, do you think any of the conversation that we had now will not be relevant in the coming years?
When I look at it from an investment perspective, I think events like wars, like slowdowns in economy are something which is very normal in your entire life. And I think that the only way that, I mean, we fret a lot about the fact that, where is the market going to be tomorrow, day after. I think the way to look at it is, again, as I mentioned to you earlier, we need to build a portfolio, using asset allocation, right? And so if there is any untoward event that happens in the markets or in the world, you have a different asset class like a gold, which kind of cushions your portfolio. And I think that's the way to kind of look at it. You got to build your portfolio in an automated fashion, in a manner where you keep putting in small bits of money, keep looking at a longer horizon of 5-10 years. There will be events during those 5-10 years, which are not going as per your, plan. But I think, having the right asset allocation will kind of ensure that, you're not reacting to the market on a day-to-day basis, but looking at, your portfolio on a longer horizon. Yeah.
Right. All right. Now, the burning question. How much money do I need to retire? How do you calculate that? Is there a spreadsheet that you have? Is there a formula? How is it?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff which is there, on the net. And as you mentioned, AI, I mean, nothing like you talking to an AI and getting that answer. But the number that I've basically seen is that you look at your total expenditure for the year and divide that by what you call is a safe withdrawal plan, right? Safe withdrawal percent. So internationally, they use a safe withdrawal percent of about 4% or so. In India, they say about a 3.5% number is something that seems appropriate. So to give you simple numbers, I mean, if you require a lakh of rupees a month, which is say 12 lakh rupees during the year, so when you divide that by say 3.5%, it turns out to be about 3.5 crores or so. So 3.5 crores seems to be a number. I mean, if you have an expenditure of about a lakh of rupees a month, 3.5 crores seems to be a number which once you achieve and invested in the right form should be able to kind of help you sustain your life from there.
Right. And one thing that I've seen is people end up building wealth, but they don't end up protecting that wealth. And that's where, insurance comes in. Do you think that this generation, I don't know how much you interact with this generation, do you think that they're too much invested into investment and they don't have a backup, say insurance or savings or emergency fund? Because people of this gen want to go all in. Like if they want to build money, they just keep building money. Or if they want to completely save, they just save. Do you think that there is a balance missing in this generation?
Um, I mean, it goes without saying that a medical insurance and a life insurance is something that you got to have, right? But I think it also has a lot to do with education and I guess what you inculcate in the youth. And I think, I mean, I have a 16-year-old child, and I keep talking to him about all these things and ensuring that they're spending in the right fashion, and that to ensure that you have the basic bells and whistles as an individual. So I think it's a lot to do with education. We need to do a lot more, obviously, but at the end of the day, the youth is inheriting an economy which is far more vibrant than what we inherited. So I think everyone will learn on the way, and over a period of time, ensure that they're investing in the right avenues. And there are so many more avenues also opening up in the investment spectrum in that sense.
All right. Okay, now this is something which is a trend which is picking up. I came across a lot of Reddit posts, and there was one common sentiment that people had. This is nowhere related to investment or retirement, by the way. This is about the spending pattern of us Indians. Okay, we have something called as adult money. Okay, so people, as soon as they start earning after age 23, 24, they consider whatever money they have as adult money. And these folks go on to Blinkit overnight and make these huge purchases in the night. So I saw a reel where someone just purchased a mandolin, a ukulele, a guitar in the night. And someone's purchasing a button phone in the middle of the night. And they're calling this that adult money is scary. What if I go ahead and purchase XYZ? Okay. Now, this is one side of it. The next side which I was coming to is a lot of people feel that they will start earning better if they spend more. Have you seen that trend 20 years ago? Or is this something which is picked up right now? Or is this something that you're seeing in this generation?
I mean, I'm seeing it more in this generation, Shashank, because I think when you look at the rate at which things are changing, I think every decade is looking different, yeah.
Okay.
And I think we don't realize it because we're part of the change, and so we don't realize it. But I mean, look at history. I mean, I remember between 95 to 2005, we had feature-rich phones. We were still getting into mobile phones, and not everybody had mobile phones at that time. The guys who had mobile phones at that time were considered as the privileged lot at that point of time. 2005 to 2015 is when smartphones started coming into the market. 2015 to 2025 is, the e-com wave,
Yes.
where a lot of us, the entire behavior changed, right? I mean, we don't realize, but Amazon actually came only in 2013. right? And it's changed the entire way of you kind of purchasing things, in general. So the entire behavior has changed. Swiggy, Instamart, all these things have changed the way people are looking at things. And now the next 10 years is going to be AI, right?
Right.
So the rate at which things are changing, I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm happy that, people have money now to start thinking about all these things and being able to purchase things instantly. I would just say that, also invest money in the right fashion, ensure that you're doing your asset allocation, ensure that you're saving, for the future as well.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Now, I'm sure you've heard this a lot, but when will you retire?
No, I don't want to retire. Shank, there's still a lot to be done.
Okay. Got it. But then, this is more of a philosophical question. What is money and how do you view money? Because a lot of people say money doesn't matter. But there's also people who say that I would rather cry in my Ferrari than in my Omni. So, how is it? What's money? What's money?
I think you reach a stage when you kind of, I think, become comfortable with money. I think the same thing about, what we spoke about earlier in terms of financial independence. In terms of, I think it's a state of mind. It's a state where you believe that you're kind of comfortable with your life at this point of time. You believe that you have resources in case if something, doesn't work out in life, you have the resources to be, you have a roof over your head. You know you're not going to be on the road. You've got a lot of bells and whistles which you've worked for over the last, 20, 25 years. So I think it's, it's a kind of state of mind. I think what that state of mind gives you is the ability, possibility, to think long term, that you're not thinking about my job at this point of time and jumping onto a next job and getting more money after a year and jumping onto a third job and getting more money. You're able to kind of take decisions, I would say, in a more holistic manner. I have found that when I look back in my life, a lot of mistakes that I made were primarily because I kept money in the front of it all. And I kind of made wrong decisions because at any given point of time I was thinking, okay, this is giving me more money, that is giving me more money, and I found that I kind of tend to make a mistake when I just keep money at the center of every decision that you take. I think I'm far more relaxed at this point of time. I mean, when I look at myself, even from the fact that we started off Zerodha Fund House. Just prior to that, I was in a very stable job, in a job where we had launched products and those products had started to see a bit of success. But I did realize that for the last 20, 25 years, we've created these products and our focus was primarily on on institutional investors and richer individuals that are there in the market. I think as a fund house, it kind of caught my fancy where we said that, look, there's still a lot more penetration to be done in terms of financial inclusion, in terms of more people using, financial products and mutual funds, to achieve their financial goals, right? And that kind of pushed me towards, a fund house like Zerodha, where, the entire focus was how do you make investing simple and get, say, the next 5 crore, 10 crore people, to come in and use these products. And at that point of time, when I moved in, I knew it's going to take time, right? It's going to take you about 2 years to get a license. It's going to take you about 3 years, to launch a set of products, and possibly another 2-3 years, to ensure that you're able to, start reaching the masses, right? So you're able to take far more, I would say, saner and logical, decisions in that sense. So it's benefited me, in a positive way.
Perfect. So, closing thoughts. Considering that the audience of FinShots TV is about 28 to 35, what are some takeaways that they might have from you?
So again, ensure that you have insurance, right? Whether it's medical, whether it's life insurance. I think those two things are a given. And then, invest in a disciplined manner. Keep investing small amounts, month after month, month after month. don't need to keep looking at where the market is today or tomorrow, but just to ensure that you keep investing for the longer term, because the longer you stay in the markets, the longer you stay invested, that is what is going to get you the return, and not jumping in and out of the market. So keep investing small amounts, be disciplined about that, and ensure you have a decent asset allocation based on your financial needs. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Vishal. This is perfect. This is better than watching a YouTube video.
Thanks, Shashank. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, and maybe next time we can talk about ETFs. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Vishal.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, folks, for joining us. I will see you in the next one.